So James, you're involved with space, or have been for many years. Tell me what you did.
I was curator for the United States Space and Rocket Center and also developed the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame in Cape Kennedy. So I was very fortunate to meet all the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo astronauts, and then the first induction was with the space shuttle.
And you said you worked on Space Lab.
I actually got certified to go into the tank at Marshall Space Flight Center when they were, and each diver had to have 3 assistants to dive with him. But they actually brought the spacecraft in to donate it to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, and I had to reassemble it.
How did you first get interested in space? Everybody has a different trigger for what fuels their passion, or was it an accident?
No, I've always been into wanting to give back, especially to the children and the kids, and see something that they haven't seen. My first job was with the Natural History Museum, and I built the largest pteranodon in the United States. And the last job I did for them was the largest cave east of the Mississippi, man-made cave.
You also have an exhibit that's here tonight. It's a little smaller than the man-made cave, but it's
much, much smaller. But it's kind of nice because I took a variety of things, and one of the coolest things, I think, is when we got Gus Grissom's Mercury suit. And a little sideline to that, we went to her house, and she said, well, I may have something you might want. My husband checked it out for show and tell, and it was his original Mercury suit. So I was given the responsibility of doing the mannequin that actually supports the spacesuit. So.
What is the next thing that you have that you think is as interesting as that on the exhibit?
Oh, would be I have so many films and astronaut signatures from Alan Bean, because Alan Bean when he left the space program, he became an artist. And so I have like Apollo 11 that he painted and signed. I have like 6 of those also in there. So.
Well, thanks for bringing your exhibit to Sarasota and sharing it with residents of Manatee County and Sarasota.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
What an amazing day, and the final evening of the 20th anniversary of the Sarasota Film Festival. Any epic moments for you this year?
Oh, geez, there's some I can't really say. I can't tell you, but they were sure a lot of fun. No, we had a great year so far, and seeing old friends and people that were with us the very first year that have come back into town, it's been very, very exciting, and you know, we're looking forward to tonight. They gave me a script, and I'm sure I'm going to throw it away like I do every year. But I'm just so excited to see some of the actors that were with us in the very first year. I know I just saw a bunch of former board members from way back. Saw them floating around, and I hope I can remember to point them all out. But we just, you know, we're just filled with thanks and gratitude for all the work that the staff and the volunteers have done, and that the Manatee, Sarasota, well, entire Gulf Coast region has done to support this event. It's been great and only going to get better.
And so many people, you're right, behind the scenes that we don't see that help you really pull this thing together.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. But, you know, we have over 200 volunteers. We have a ridiculously dedicated staff that does so much to support us. I mean, I don't want to think about it. I'll just cry. I mean, they deserve so much kudos, and, you know.
That speaks for great leadership.
Well, I don't know about that, but thank you very much. I'm not going to admit that. But I'm looking to the NASA. I'm looking forward to the NASA film.
We're looking forward to the NASA film.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Have a great evening.
All right, so Dr. Stofan, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what your involvement in this film tonight is?
Well, I'm the former chief scientist of NASA, and I've been involved with NASA basically my entire life because my dad worked for NASA also. So it was a real honor to participate in Rory Kennedy's film Above and Beyond. It really sort of tries to bring together all of the things that NASA's accomplished over its 60-year history, which we're celebrating this summer.
And what did you do with the film? What was your involvement?
Rory interviewed me quite a bit in the film about why NASA wants to send humans to Mars, why we're exploring the solar system, the universe, but a lot of what we focused on was the issue of we turn all these satellites that NASA has to look back at this planet, to understand the rapid pace of climate change that we're seeing and what a concern it is.
How concerning is it that we are no longer really supposed to even say global warming?
Well, it's a huge concern because, as all of us have seen over the last year with these incredibly intense hurricanes that we've experienced, the wildfires out in California, the dramatic warming that we see in the Arctic. In fact, about a couple months ago, it was 40 degrees in the Arctic. So climate change is happening. It's not something that's going to happen in the future. It's happening right now. And certainly Florida sees that, where we see increased flooding already at high tides.
When you see something that's occurring on Earth from above the atmosphere or even just within the atmosphere, what do you see when you see things like polar ice caps melting? Give me a visual.
You know, what we're doing at NASA is we compare the Earth to the other planets. So we look and say, what's the climate of Venus? What's the climate of Mars? How can we learn more about the climate of the Earth from studying that? So literally what we're seeing on Earth, we are measuring every year the seas rising due to climate change. We are measuring huge loss of ice in Greenland and Western Antarctica, and every year now we're seeing the Arctic ice cap get smaller and smaller. So again, these dramatic effects of climate change, we're measuring them every year, and I worry as a scientist that a lot of people think climate change is something abstract in the future. It's right now.
Down the road, millions of years, they have said that the Earth is going to be engulfed by the sun, correct?
Billions of years.
Okay, billions of years.
Big difference.
Big
Okay,
difference.
so billions of years away, they say that eventually. So we are in essence on a dying planet, but we're kind of fast pacing that process.
Yeah, the things we worry about with the eventual fate of the Earth 5 billion years from now, hopefully by that time, if we're still around, we would have developed interstellar travel and be able to find that Earth 2.0 around another star. The effects of climate change are right here, right now, and we've got to do something about it right now. NASA is really focused, along with space agencies from all around the world, on getting humans to Mars, which is an exciting and amazing technological challenge. But you know, if we put our minds to it, we can do it in the next 15 to 20 years. The hard part is keeping humans alive on the way there and on the way back, 7 to 8 months from Mars, developing the technologies to land on the surface of Mars, which has a very thin atmosphere. But you know, NASA's working on those technologies. They've been working on them for the last 20 years. So really, the first person who's going to walk on Mars, or can I correct myself, the first woman who will step out onto the surface of Mars, she's in school right now, maybe an 8 or 10-year-old.
And is it possible that that first girl that arrives on Mars, she may not be coming back?
No, definitely not. You know, NASA always brings their astronauts back to the Earth, and it's going to be, again, an exciting partnership between governments from around the world, NASA, private companies. You see SpaceX's big excitement about going to Mars. So it's going to take all hands on deck. It's going to take all of us, but I'm optimistic that it's going to happen by the 2030s. When we look at the challenges that we face as a society, from climate change to getting humans to Mars, it really is going to take all hands on deck. So if we're only accessing half of our population, if we're not encouraging girls to get involved in science, technology, engineering, math, people of color, then we're leaving talent on the table. So it's critical to me, and it's one of my passions. How can we get every kid to understand not only do they belong in science, engineering, and technology, we need them. You know, I hope everyone who sees Above and Beyond is awed at what we've been able to accomplish as the United States with NASA. I mean, it's been an amazing 60 years. We've explored the universe, the solar system. But I also hope people walk away with this feeling that the most important thing that we all have right in front of us right now is to protect this spaceship Earth that we all live on.
Judge Williams and Orson Cummings, you're the judges this year.
Yes. For the
Yes?
competition, yes, for animated, narrative, and documentary shorts.
So tell me what that means to you, and tell me a little bit about what that involves.
Well, it's a great program. It's a very international program. So really talented artists from all over the world submitted their work, and the festival did a great job curating it. So it was really fun, first of all, to watch so much great work. And
Judge Williams?
I agree, and we came to a consensus fairly quickly, although the films were all competitive. They ran the gamut from Japan to Romania to everywhere in between. So we were really impressed with the quality and the story of all the films that we saw.
So many films with so many stories this year. And tell me, tomorrow, are we judging?
I think our judging is done.
All done.
So we will be presenting awards to the winners in our categories this evening.
Exciting. Well, thank you for being here. We're so glad to have you here at the 20th anniversary of the Sarasota Film Festival.
All right, Mark,
me.
let's talk about this particular movie, because this movie has a woman that directed it, a woman that wrote it and cast it, and also another woman that's involved that used to be the head scientist at NASA.
Yeah, she's fabulous. Really
so
smart lady. I think she's down the way here.
Yeah, we just
Great.
interviewed her. But the
Can't wait to
question
talk
is,
to her.
as the father of two
Twin
little girls,
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
they're coming tonight, so you asked them that question. They insisted on coming. They heard us about NASA. I'm like, you guys don't want to go. It's NASA. Daddy, NASA? We're coming. So they're going to show up in a few minutes.
but this
And
is
it's all heck is going to break loose because they're bringing their friends with them. And I had nothing to do with this. I had no choice. So,
but for your kids, for their future.
Yeah.
If these little girls that years ago they would have been cooking dinner for their husbands,
Fabulous. You know, in
so
our
now
community-
how has it changed?
it's changed because, everything is possible for them. And as a father, it seems so obvious. I want it so badly, but it's happening. It's happening. Men are, well, I can't denigrate them, can I? Everybody's waking up. And the fact is that women are one of the biggest resources in science that we have today. I have a scientific company that I own and operate, and most of my principal scientists are women. And they're creative, smart, and they really know what the heck they're doing. They're dedicated. So, I've always felt that for the longest time, but this film is showing us that the women involved in the space program have been critical. Of course, we've had some recent films that have showed us the same thing, that people are important regardless of race and gender. But this is just really great. It's a documentary, and most of the younger people today don't know what you and I may know about NASA. We take some of it for granted. Of course, it's poignant that John Kennedy was so involved in the race program and that his niece did this film. So, there's so many things going on with it. It's very exciting. And has Rory shown up yet? I don't think she has, right?
She'll be here soon, but 20th anniversary of the film festival. How proud are you? Because you've taken this over quite a few years ago and you've grown it.
Yeah, it's. I'm very proud. On the one hand, on the other hand, I'm tired. But that's only because we've been running now for 9 days. We got 1 day left. Tomorrow morning I have to judge the 20-hour film program, and then I'll have a chance to relax. We've already started planning the 21st year. We're trying to see whether we're going to extend it, shorten it, get it more intense. Started earlier in the week. What other performing arts venues are going to be involved with us, because we've had a tremendous amount of interest. We're working on the new building for the film festival offices, and that's very, very exciting as well. So, I didn't really have a chance to think. 20 is just a number. It's been a long time, but we got a big future ahead of us.
And who knows, maybe one of your daughters will go to the moon or maybe go to Mars.
Well, she's already making movies, so I don't know. She's making movies, so you ask her. She's going to be here. Brent and Camilla, believe me, they got their own minds. I don't control them. They know what they're saying, And listen, thanks for being here, and METV, baby. METV. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what inspired you for this film.
Well, at NASA, really, the film Above and Beyond, it's for the Discovery Channel. They approached me to make this film. I'm excited to show it on the Discovery Channel this fall, but I leaped at the chance because I'm such a fan of NASA, of what it's accomplished over the last 60 years. It is the 60th anniversary in 2018 of the institution, and the film goes back to those first days where my Uncle Jack at Rice University said that, one of the most extraordinary speeches where he said, we're going to go to the moon, and we're going to go there not because it's easy, but because it's hard. And we don't know what we're going to find, but this is what we do as humans, which is to push into zones and territory that's never been explored before. And, to look back at the accomplishments of the last 60 years and how much we now know and understand about ourselves and our place in the universe is an extraordinary experience as a filmmaker, But also I think that the film helps contextualize really a new purpose for NASA, which is in this exploration of space and our universe and our solar system, there's been a greater appreciation for how precious and unique Earth is, because we have yet to find any planet like it, right? And how vulnerable it is, and how us humans are impacting it in a really significant way, and they're giving us that information and that knowledge. And I think that gives the organization a new sense of purpose, and to me, a really pressing and imperative one.
And I think people don't think about that when you think of the space program and putting people on the moon or on Mars in the future, that they're really looking down on the Earth and discovering and understanding what our environment is.
Yes, and that is, I think, is for sure a revelatory aspect of the film, and one that we're happy to embrace and explore, and really help people understand what NASA is contributing, not just to our understanding of the world out there, but the world right around us here, and what we're doing to it.
And what, if one thing you like people to take away from this film?
Well, I think to me, what my greatest takeaway is the preciousness of this planet, and Earth ends up being kind of the main character of the film, and I think that's was not my intention going into the project, but it became clear to me that what NASA is doing as it looks outward is helping us understand what's going on inward, and it's a beautiful thing, and I hope people appreciate that journey. I also think that, looking back on this history, that this was a moment where we had extraordinary leadership that was tapping into the best of the human spirit and of humanity and pushing us all forward, and there was this sense of kind of collective purposeness. And I think we've lost sight of that in part because we're lacking that leadership, which is more focused on dwelling on the things that divide us. And, I love this country and I love everybody in it, and we have so much more that we share in common that divide us, but when we have leadership that's only focused on the 20% of the issues that divide us, then it doesn't create such good feelings. And I think you look back at a different time when we were a single nation, that we were on the same page, that we were sort of beautifully together, and you see that potential because we haven't changed.
Well, thank you for all you do and for inspiring others and educating them on the space program. Thank you, Rory.
Thank you for bringing
Thank
some
you
attention
so
to
much.
it. I appreciate that.
Well, actually, I'm a jury member here on this journey. I've been to this festival 4 times. This is my 4th. And I had to watch 7 films. So this was probably, of all the times I've come, my hardest job. I had to be the most responsible, because usually when you're here for one film and you're promoting it, you actually know what you're talking about. And this time I felt like I really needed to study up and do my homework, and I had a big responsibility of choosing the best work and picking a winner, and so
How do you make those decisions? What was the one thing that prompted you to make the decision that you did, and why? Which film?
Well, to me, it's a combination of things. It's the storytelling, it's the performances. Does it captivate me? Am I moved by it? Does the director have they done their job in terms of were they able to navigate the story well, and what the production value is, in spite of the fact that usually a lot of these films are independent and they don't have a big budget. So were they able to sort of overcome that and be able to, and we as an audience able to overcome that, and what were they able to do with the actors and bring out their performances. So there's a lot of things that I look at.
Do you think that women look at films differently when they're judging the films, when they're picking things? I mean, how have you discussed that with any
I don't know, because the 2 other jury members were men, and we all felt unanimously. In fact, we agreed about every one of the movies that we saw. And there was sort of a weird running theme in these films that we actually saw. There was a lot of spirituality. There was a lot of sort of mysticism. There were a lot of women-driven narratives, which I found interesting. So it was interesting year.
Do you think that's a sign of what we may need in these times of turmoil right now? And could it possibly be that this is a good thing?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I love women's stories, and I think women. There was a lot more women also directing these films as well. So that was interesting to me that those were the ones chosen to be at the festival. I think it's interesting times. So absolutely.
There's been a lot of disparity in Hollywood between men and women, a lot of inequality. And do you think that film festivals like the Sarasota Film Festival may be a great way to kind of level the playing field, particularly when films by women, for women, and for everyone are starting to get recognition?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly at a film festival such as Sarasota, to be able to embrace films by women, to really pave the way is really important. I mean, I think to bring those films into the forefront, I think women have a certain sensitivity that is different than a male point of view. And I think that is crucial to bring that point of view out. I think that we're obviously equally as talented as men are, and I think it's interesting to see both points of view, and they're equally as important. So I'm thrilled that we're getting that opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here on the red carpet with Samantha Mathis. So great to see you this evening.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your involvement in the film.
I was asked to come for the closing night gala and to be here this weekend. This is my second time attending the festival. My first time was, I believe, 19 years ago, and this is the 20th anniversary. So it's really special to be back here and to see how much the festival has grown. And Mark Familia had me here with a movie 19 years ago, and here I am again. I don't know if you've been here for both weekends, but my friend Sandy Stern produced the opening night movie, Class Rank, and he brought me here with a film 19 years ago. So in any case, it's nice to be back.
Yeah, unfortunately I wasn't able to be here the first weekend, but had read up on that movie because the actress was Veronica with the type A personality, I think I read.
Did you relate to that?
Yes, I related to that.
I haven't actually seen the movie yet, so I can't say anything about it other than I know it was really well attended and people really responded to it.
So you were here all week involved? And
I wasn't, no, I just came in from New York on Friday with my sister who's here somewhere, and we're just thrilled to be guests and celebrate the festival and be out of New York City in the cold. So
yes,
we're
I don't blame you.
quite in heaven with this weather. Yeah.
Well, thank you for stopping by. Have a great evening. You going to see NASA?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Excited. Love everything about space and the space program.
Oh, yeah.
So very excited.
Should be exciting.
Yes.
Thank you so much. All right,
Good to meet
Samantha.
you.
Del, so tonight you're at the 20th anniversary of the Sarasota Film Festival, and being that you are in the business of not just making films but teaching, what does this mean to have this festival become so successful?
Well, every year I see more and more of students that I've had personal contact with and then have gone on and done films. There have been some short films in the festival by former students. They're learning by watching all these terrific films and interacting with the filmmakers. This is a golden opportunity. I worked with the festival when it was the Sarasota French Film Festival before this incarnation, and I got to tell you, in the 25 plus years, we've come a long way.
What do you think is different this year than in years past?
Well, you know, I was judging the shorts this year, and I was really impressed with the diverse nature of these shorts. In animation, so many different types of animation. In the other categories, the varieties of countries that they were from, even though we've been there before, but this year was particularly striking.
How much more are we relying on digital than just going out there and the talent of the actors and what's going on in the world?
You mean digital in terms of making the world real? That's always a point of consternation. There's a film at the festival called 1985 that was shot on black and white Kodak film, and I sat in about the fifth row and was mesmerized by the granular nature of that film. That's a real tactical experience that with high definition video today we don't get. So the festival offers that opportunity.
Do you think that we're lacking a little something nowadays with the talent, because people are relying so heavily on digital, and how can we get around that if that's...
Well, they're relying on that for a lot of commercial reasons, just like they're relying on the creation of cinematic universes so that films can be mega $1 million productions. I'm happy to say that this festival isn't about that. This one is about voices that have been heard, but voices that haven't been heard, and that affordability with digital is something that interacts and interfaces with this festival's tempo. Yeah.
What would you say to other young filmmakers, particularly here on the Suncoast, where maybe they don't have the wherewithal, but just in brief, what would you say to young filmmakers that want to make movies?
Well, we have institutions like Ringling, State College of Florida. We have high schools like Booker and Riverview. There are plenty of young, talented filmmakers with equipment that is often provided by their schools. If you're not in that ilk, you could get involved with it in different ways. There are community organizations that have guerrilla filmmaking contests like the 20-hour film festival here. Make films, make something and put it out there, even if you put it out on YouTube or Vimeo.
And in the worst case scenario, everyone has a cell phone now and you hit the record button.
We did a class on cell phone filmmaking. It's inherent.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're here on the red carpet with Virginia Madsen.
And the
So
beautiful
great
Veronica.
to
Oh my
you're
God.
so kind.
Look
Look
at
at
this gown she has. It's amazing.
We taped the In Conversation series with you today. So tell me a little bit about what it means for you to be with the Sarasota Film Festival.
Well, this is my first time at the Sarasota Film Festival, and everyone is so welcoming, and there's a really incredible support from the community, and it means so much to the filmmakers. A lot of our movies are independent films, and this is the lifeblood, and it's a time where you can see these films on the big screen the way the filmmakers intended.
And
so
to share
I was gushing about that when you were there earlier. So
And to tell the stories that people don't often hear or see because it's not out in the general public. And then when it comes to these film festivals and then goes out there, it's incredible.
It's really incredible, and our director couldn't be with us, and the cast is working, and so I'm here sort of representing our whole family, and they're all so excited, and they say thank you, Sarasota, thank you for giving this an audience, and it just means the world to us all.
So what's next for you?
I'm about to go do a movie with Elizabeth Moss.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I'm her mom.
Yeah.
So she's my new movie daughter.
Well,
so.
she must be like 2?
Yes, she's definitely, I'm old enough to be her mother.
You
I'm
don't
very
look
excited.
it.
She's so talented, and she's a force, and I just can't wait to meet her.
And anything you want to share about the movie, or can you?
Well, I can't say that she's a punk rocker in a girl band, and it's kind of a disaster. But I think the movie's going to be extraordinary.
How
and
fun.
I'm her mom trying to understand.
What that's about? I think we've all been there, right?
Yeah, I have a 23-year-old, so yeah, I have a little bit of knowledge of that.
Oh, and you don't look like you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing time with us here tonight on the red carpet at the 20th anniversary of the Sarasota Film Festival.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful to be a part of it. Thank you.
I'm with the award-winning Barbara Koppel. And Barbara, you've had several films in this film festival. You had one with Mariel Hemingway, and that was about depression in her family. But you have a different film. Tell me the name of your film and how it's a departure from your usual.
Well, I don't really think A Murder in Mansfield is a departure. It's still about storytelling, and it's about a young boy who's joined at the hip with his mom, and the father kills the mother and won't admit it, and the boy has to testify against his father. And then 26 years later, he comes back to Mansfield to heal himself and to talk about trauma. The mother was found buried in a house in Pennsylvania with his mistress, the father's mistress, pregnant mistress.
And this is based on a true story?
It's all true. It's all true.
So when you interviewed this young man and you taped this young man, at the end of the film, how did he seem to be?
Relieved that he had come to terms with his father's never going to tell him what's real, and he had come to terms with how much people love him in the area and support him.
Do you find that by filming him, it might have been it might have been cathartic for him to get it out? And
Oh, he's wanted to have a documentary about this happen for a long time, and it's wonderful.
how do you think this may help other people? Because as we know, crimes like this are getting more and more commonplace, en masse and one-on-one. So how do you think that this might actually help people to work through things?
I think that Collier, Boyle Landry, which is his name, is going to do a speaking tour to universities, hospitals, everywhere, show the film and talk about it. And if he can get through it, everyone can. He lost everyone. His mother, his father, his house, his dog.
Well, we thank you for bringing this film to the Sarasota Film Festival, but
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I would just like to know that you've been here several times,
Yes,
and you keep coming.
Miss Sharon Jones, and that won the Audience Award and a lot of films. Yeah.
So I guess the question is, why do you keep coming back?
I can't resist. I love it. Sarasota's the best.
We are on the red carpet with Josephine Decker. Josephine, so great to see you this evening.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here in Sarasota again.
And tell me a little bit about what you've done since you've been here.
Well, at the festival, I've been partying with all these awesome filmmakers and people in town, and then screening my film. I directed a feature called Madeline's Madeline, and it played a few times at the festival. So,
tell me about the film.
It's about a young woman, a teenager who's an actress, and she's in a devised theater piece with a director who slowly starts to weave this young woman's real troubles with her mom into their theater piece. So it's kind of about the young woman learning how to take her own story back.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And what's next for you?
Well, I'll be directing a new feature film this summer, so it hasn't been announced yet, but it'll be coming soon.
Well, good luck to you, and thank you for being here at the Sarasota Film Festival.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, Catherine, so you are multifaceted. What did you do on your movie? First off, what is your movie called, and what did you do on it?
My movie is called 50 Words, and I wrote it, I produced it, and I starred in it.
So now we're at the last night of the film festival. How did the audience react, and did they take away from the film what you hoped they would?
Yes, I wanted to hear laughter. I wanted people to come away from it with a smile, and I absolutely got that today. So I was really, really happy.
Can you just go over in brief what the film was about?
The film is about a theater actress, and she is newly single, and she's seeking for ways to meet men. So she writes her bio in the program as a personal ad, seeking her perfect match from the audience, and finds herself suddenly swamped with suitors.
So it's speed dating my audience.
Yes, exactly.
Well, are you working on another project right now?
I am. We've started writing something else, so hopefully we'll get that going pretty quickly.
We look forward to seeing you at the next Sarasota Film Festival.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your uncle, President Kennedy, put this country on a fast track to explore space. In September 1962, he said, "We choose to go to the moon and to do other things, not because they're easy, but because they're hard." How did these words and his energy imbue NASA with the drive that took us to the moon, created the space shuttle, and the Hubble?
Great question, and is very much in line with our film, Above and Beyond, which is going to be on the Discovery Channel. And it's really a celebration of NASA, looking back 60 years now. It's its 60th anniversary, starting with that amazing speech that my Uncle Jack gave at Rice University that you just quoted, where he said, "We're going to go to the moon, not because it's easy, but because it's hard." And I think what that speaks to, and we use that quote in the beginning of the film, is really one of the big themes of NASA, which is this idea that we're going to do things that have never been done before. And we're going to do it, and it's going to be difficult. But we're going to do it, and we're going to pull the best in human resources and the best of the people, pull them together, and do the extraordinary. And it's really, this film is a celebration of that and all that we've learned from NASA over the last 60 years, and it was a real honor for me to make this.
What would the audience be most surprised to know that what you learned from working with NASA?
Well, I think NASA has done an incredible job over the years doing so many things, many of which I wasn't aware of, and how their accomplishments, sending Hubble up into space, and their ability to then not only look out and help us understand our solar system, and our galaxy and our universe and the beginning of time, but also now in taking those instruments and looking them back on Earth. And NASA, one of the things that I think not that many people know is how much we've learned about our own planet from NASA. And they're a little invisible, you know, for example, the weather. You know, that comes from NASA, right? And they feed that information to the Weather Channel and to NOAA. But the source information is from NASA. And we would have a very hard time operating without the knowledge that they give us on a day-to-day level that we take for granted and that we really don't know that they're the source of. So in part, it's a celebration of that as well.
So many people think that all we do with NASA, you know, all NASA does is send people up into space, but it is so not the truth.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, the film comes around to the sense of this new purpose for this organization when there's so much at stake now. There's such an appreciation for Earth and a realization as we've looked outward how precious this planet is and how vulnerable it is, frankly, and how us humans are having an enormous impact on it. And we have the knowledge now to know what we're doing to the planet, and they've given us the resources to make smart choices, and so now it's up to us and our legislators and policymakers to make those smart choices.
Last really quick question. Last year it was about Laird Hamilton, and that was in the water. This is up in space. Why the big change?
You know, it's funny because it is obviously a significant story change, but there's some themes that are similar, you know, because both organizations and individuals are about pushing the limits of the human capacity of sports, of our technology, and in that way, they're not so different. Thank you.
Great to see you this evening.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Sarasota Film Festival is such a great festival. It really provides an opportunity for lots of films to be seen, and most of them probably won't get great distribution, but that's what film festivals are for, to provide a place for people to show their work, whether it's on 3,000 screens in a weekend or in your garage. But that's what film festivals are for. I'm glad to be part of it.
And it brings to life opportunities for people that may not have been seen, and a lot of great talent.
Yeah. This is a place for lots of eyeballs to watch movies, and there's nothing like it. It's so true.
And we had the in conversations with you as well.
Yeah, I had a great time this morning. Really nice people, good people.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us at the Sarasota Film Festival. We're here on the red carpet with Catherine. Your film, 50 Words. Tell me a little bit about your film.
Yeah, my film is a romantic comedy. It's a short film, and it's about a theater actress who writes her bio in the playbill as a personal ad, seeking her perfect match from the audience.
And you wrote and directed?
I wrote, I produced it, and I starred in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, what does it mean for you to be here at the Sarasota Film Festival?
It's a dream. I actually, I live in Sarasota, and so a few years ago I attended the Florida Shorts, and I thought to myself, you know, these are all people that I know that are local, and if they can make a film, then maybe I can too. So I did.
And what inspired you?
Well, you know, I love acting, and I really wanted an opportunity to be on camera in a really great part, and I also wanted to showcase all of the local Sarasota talent. So everyone in the film is local, and they were amazing.
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. Going to watch the NASA film.
Yes, I'm excited to see it. Yeah.
We'll look forward to seeing yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These are the original Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders from the 70s, but it was a dream come true. They were much more grounded and inspiring than I think most people think of when they think about cheerleaders. I think there's this impression that they're sort of frivolous or bubbly little-headed blondes or something, and they really were some pretty badass Texas ladies.
But back in the 70s, there were a lot more challenges for women doing things like cheerleading and being perceived as a certain type than there are today. Is that part of what your film shows?
Yeah, the movie takes place, you know, sort of at the height of second wave feminism and the sexual revolution, and these women were loved and loathed in equal measure. They were either seen as these progressive symbols of empowerment, or they were seen as
regressive and representing everything that the movement was fighting against. And so they really were this very controversial emblem of femininity.
What were some of the challenges of working with them?
The biggest challenge was getting them to appear on camera because nobody would speak unless Suzanne Mitchell, who was their den mother from 40 years ago, said it was okay. So the whole thing was like, we always had to be on the right side of Suzanne. That iron grip just stayed after all these years.
People are so into their film festival here in Sarasota, and it's a very welcoming environment, and it's so beautiful. I wish that I had more time to look around, and everyone has a favorite place they want you to go and the different beaches, and I was just, I'd love if I shot a movie here. It would be great.
This year in particular, the film festival seemed to be centered a lot around women filmmakers, women directors, producers, people that directed, produced, and were even in their own movie. You've seen Hollywood, I'm sure, changed quite a little bit. How happy are you that this is happening with women now being recognized in film?
Well, there does seem to be more women getting a green light and more doors open for women, but I think it remains to be seen where we go from here. I'm a glass half full person, but there was a period of time where I feel like there were less and less and less of us and less diversity. And now it seems to be blossoming again. So I think it's a very exciting time.
Was the film festival everything that you expected, or what were some of the surprises that you want to share?
Oh, the food is really good here. And I'm trying very hard to be very healthy while I'm here. But it's been so much fun, and it's so well organized. And people are very proud of their film festival here. So, and for me to be able to bring this movie, 1985, to audiences and for them to give us a number of screenings like that, that just means the world to the director and to everybody.
In brief, some people may not have had the opportunity to see the film. What are you going to tell them in synopsis to let them be interested in seeing it?
Well, it is a very emotional film. It's a difficult story in many ways. In 1985, if you were diagnosed with HIV or AIDS, it was a death sentence. But it's important to know that this movie is also about love. It's about the love of a family and a family's struggle with understanding one another. And in that way, it's very current. Sometimes it's really hard to get along with mom and dad and have them know who you really are. So it's about today as well.
One of the hardest things for people living with HIV is stigma. Stigma is one of the biggest barriers, not just to love, but also to care. We have a big problem with that, especially young people 13 to 24, the fastest growing segment of our population now. Seniors, because of Viagra. People just aren't acknowledging it, and Florida is #1 for new HIV cases. How do you think this film may give them a little insight?
Well, we have to be reminded that AIDS has not gone away. HIV has not disappeared. And I think there's a dangerous perception that it's somehow like diabetes. And it's like easy to maintain. And younger people are just not that safe when it comes to their passions. So we have to remind people you still need to think about safe sex. You still need to educate people on what this is and to protect yourself and your partners.
Tested, diagnosed, and treated, and then there's hope.
Well, there is a lot of hope. I do have friends who are at this point undetectable, but it doesn't mean it's gone. And also we have to remember that for some people who are diagnosed, the treatment is not effective. So, and for those people who do get diagnosed, there is still, they don't want to tell anybody. You know, I wouldn't tell anybody, the people that I know, unless they've been public about it. So it's, so this is in one way our film is the beginning of a conversation.
Good. We need to make HIV a normal part of the everyday conversation. So thank you for raising awareness.
I'm here at the Chill Lounge with Rose Del Sangro from Chicago.
Chicago.
But here in Sarasota now.
Yes, retired here, yes, 5 years ago, yes.
And you've been coming to the film festival the whole time.
We've been coming actually 9 years, so we always came down here as a holiday before we retired.
So how many films did you see, Rose?
Today we saw, well, this festival we saw 7. A little down from the normal, which is about 12, 15. But
any favorites?
You know, Mermaids was remarkable. And The King, of course, because it's Elvis. How bad can that be?
Right.
And then Shelter was lovely. Shelter was lovely. So
what do you think the Sarasota Film Festival means to Sarasota?
You know, I think it is a world-class festival. You know, we were in Chicago, we were in Saugatuck, Michigan. We all have film festivals. So we're very interested in film, and how wonderful to be in a small city that actually gives you the opportunity to see small films and independent film festivals, and it's just marvelous. It's really a small town with a lot of big town.
And I think you said to me earlier that it gives Sarasota a spotlight in the world.
It's a world-class spotlight, I think. Yeah, it is.
Well, Rose, thank you so much.
It's my honor.
Are you having a good time in the Chill Lounge?
Wonderful time. Wonderful time.
All right, thank you.
Just take our
We're here at the Chill Lounge with Judge Quartermain. So great to see you this evening.
Nice to see you.
So tell me a little bit about your involvement with the Sarasota Film Festival.
Well, I was a part of Carrie Seidman's documentary, Facing Mental Illness, and I participated in that project in various ways throughout the year that she was putting it on.
So tell me how you felt about that, being involved and hoping to showcase to the world the challenges with mental illness.
Well, I was really proud to be involved. We both came to this issue for different reasons. I run the mental health court and met her through that way as we were both trying to get funding or, you know, working on destigmatizing that issue in the criminal system for me and her generally. And I just thought the film was done so well, and it really captured exactly what she wanted to accomplish and did accomplish.
And what would you want people to take away from the film?
Well, I think that everybody suffers in one way or knows what it feels like to be sad, to be really happy, to have different emotions, and everyone has an experience with some form of mental illness. Some are much more severe. So I think that everyone needs to be more understanding, and I think this led to the destigmatization of it, or contributed to it. There's a lot of work to do.
And having that patience and understanding for mental illness and the challenges that those people face.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and they face it in a lot of different ways. Like I said, I see it in the criminal system, and she has a son who suffers from it. I deal with parents who deal with that. It's a lifelong struggle. So, and it doesn't end a lot of times. It's not like you cure it. You have to continually work on it. So, we all have to be understanding, not just of the individuals, but their family members.
Well, thank you so much, Judge Quartermain, for spending time with us here at the Chill Lounge. I hope you enjoy your evening.
Thank you. You too.
One of Sarasota's best, a man that needs no introduction. This is Bello Nock here, but then again, everyone in the United States probably knows this man by now. Wow. Bello, what are you doing here? Are you going to do some acrobatics or something?
No, I am here chilling. It's the 20th anniversary of the Sarasota Film Festival in beautiful Sarasota. Chill Lounge has been one of the staples. My brother and I just love being able to support, and so we came up with this beautiful thing called a champagne chandelier to deliver champagne to people, and so just love it. Just want to support, and I'm just chilling. I'm blending in.
So tell us about the champagne chandelier. How does it work?
Well, if you want some champagne, you just walk over to the lady, and she's up on the chandelier and pours Prosecco champagne into your glass. Come get as much as you want.
Now, this film festival has been attended incredibly well this year. I mean, and it's also the 20th year, which is fantastic. What do you think it is about this festival that draws people here? Because it's different.
With everything, it needs time to build momentum, right? I don't know that Sarasota needed time to build momentum. What it did is it let people know that you can expect the unexpected. You could come see a movie of culture. You can see it of the arts, of circus. Well, a lot of people know that circus is synonymous with Sarasota. But it's not the only thing Sarasota does. So Nick Bollettieri's movie, so that is got a great buzz of it. There's two actual circus movies here, one called The Great Flip-Off and one called Katya, which is a short. It plays right before the Frenchman in Florida. And they're both getting great rave reviews. And both of them are from people who are native, born and raised here in Sarasota, but circus. So it's awesome.
Now, you're all about young people. How do you think the film festival is going to attract more young people, not just to come to school in our area, but maybe to stay in our area and make movies right here?
I think quality speaks for itself. They say cream rises to the top, and that's what we'll gather. If you look at the ambiance, the setting, the surroundings, you don't have to go build a set and make a set. It's all here. You want farmland, you want beautiful keys, you want water, landscape, whatever it is you want, farmland, beautiful high-rises, whatever it is that you want, it's right here in Sarasota. You don't have to go far, and you don't have to have a scenic designer make it for you. The beautiful opera house here. I mean, there's just so much here. It's really something else.
And do you think down the road we might see Bello Nock as being the subject of one of these documentaries, maybe?
Yes. As soon as America's Most Wanted does it. No, I'm kidding. I'm a shy guy. I just like to blend in and just go with the flow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Ask Bello, what's next for you? What do you got on the horizon?
Oh, yeah. What's next for you?
So
what are you
I just came back from a tour of Bermuda and Hawaii. Since the beginning of the year, I've crossed the international date line 4 times. Russia, Australia, I can't even think of Russia, Australia, Japan, and Manila. And so I'm home for a week, and I get to leave go to a week to Las Vegas, a week in LA, and then Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm waiting for it to get a little warmer because it just got freezing cold up there. So on tour with Bellomania and just making people happy.
Well, we hope to see a lot more of you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you so much. That's always nice for an entertainer to to hear that. So thank you.
We're here with James Hagler at Chill Lounge. Isn't this great? What energy tonight.
It's just been so phenomenal, especially with seeing, everybody involved with the astronaut program and everybody looking at, what has happened for us in space. It's fantastic. And it's for the kids to get something out of it,
Tell me, you were telling me a little bit earlier about all the things that you've collected for the museum. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I started out in the Natural History Museum, and I was curator and did the largest pteranodon ever built. And the last job I had with them, I did the largest man-made cave east of the Mississippi. And then I went to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, and then the Astronaut Hall of Fame, and then finally to Edison Ford Estates and to Venice.
And tonight you had items on display.
Yes. Some of those items were very unique because one of the ones that I really, really appreciated was I went to, we ended up getting Gus Grissom's spacesuit. And that's the suit that in Mercury program he actually swam in and never recovered his capsule until many, many years later. But he checked it out from Johnson Space Center and never returned it for his kids for a show and tell.
And I think you told me that when they swim, they have 3 people with them. Is that correct?
Right. I got certified at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in their neutral buoyancy tank just so I could swim with an astronaut. And so they have 3 certified swimmers at all times when they're working on, say, repair of the space station or repair for whatever they're working in space.
And did you tell me that you had Neil Armstrong's gloves?
I do have Neil Armstrong's hands in there because what happens is for the astronauts, they have to do a specialized glove that actually fit, for them. And I had all 3 of the Apollo 11 astronauts plaster hands, and I cast those in bronze.
So this is a special night for you. NASA Above and Beyond, the premiere film for the closing night of the Sarasota Film Festival.
Oh, it's
Thank
been great.
you so much.
No, thank you.
All right.
And I hope the kids really enjoy the history of space, and because it's so phenomenal what we can do if you just look beyond where we are.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the Chill Lounge.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Which one of you designed or came up with the concept for the champagne chandelier?
Well, I would say that we came up with the concept together. We have a production company and we have many different specialty and novelty acts that we produce for different events around the world. We're based right here in Sarasota, Florida.
What is the name of your company?
Our company is Nock Productions. And we've been working here with Reiner at Chill Lounge for about 4 years now, and every year we bring something different to the table, and it's a lot of fun.
And did you design this?
Yes, absolutely.
So what went into the designing of this? How did you come up with the concept and the design?
Well, first of all, it had to be beautiful, so the design, we use around 20,000 crystals in each of our beautiful champagne chandeliers.
And did you design it in a way to make it so that the girls could actually be suspended from it?
So the design is twofold. John is really a big part of the engineering and the safety, all of those aspects, and then I design sort of the artistic side of things. So, it's a little bit of everything. I designed it so that they look beautiful and sparkly, and for me, the girls are just an extension of the chandelier. And John makes sure everyone's safe and everything's just right. And as a team, we produce these things, and it's wonderful.
So we know the Nock family so well. So is it with Bellows Rigs? Do you also work on that, and you work on some of the design?
Yeah, we work closely with Bello and my other brother Eugene in front of the scenes and behind the scenes.
So we all have a long history of working together. We all know each other's strong points, and when the opportunity arises, we really like to team up and bring all of our artistic and knowledge aspects to the table and produce really amazing things. And every year we're doing bigger and better things, and we've got some really great things on the horizon.
Can't wait to see what you have planned for next year. All right, and you're one of the family here.
I am. I'm an aerialist for John and for Alexandra for Nock Productions.
But you're also related.
Are we related? We probably are. Circus families, we're all very tight-knit and related in some way.
What do they say? 6 degrees of Sarasota, right?
Right.
All right, so tell us what went into the training a little bit.
I've been an aerialist for about 20 years now, and it's constant training. We just keep going and perfecting in what we chose to do.
What were some of the challenges of working on the champagne chandelier?
Honestly, actually, this is the first time that I've performed an aerial act in high heels, so that was my challenge for this evening. It spins in a different way than some other aerial apparatuses. Not wanting to mess up someone's beautiful creation. Otherwise, it's kind of a day at work.
When you guys were practicing with this, did you have a safety net or anything when you first started?
We did not. No net.
Well, we look forward to seeing you guys again next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that about wraps it up here at the 20th anniversary of the Sarasota Film Festival. We're here at the Chill Lounge just after the premiere of NASA Above and Beyond, directed by Rory Kennedy. Tonight, we had an opportunity to meet Stephen Guttenberg and Virginia Madsen. She won a Lifetime Achievement Award. Great evening, lots of energy here at the Chill Lounge. We look forward to seeing you next year at the 21st anniversary of the Sarasota Film Festival. I'm Veronica Rogers. We'll see you soon.